What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we are looking at the food groups. I'm going to look at what macronutrients are in each food group in sort of what capacity, as well as looking at what the recommended servings per day from each group is. So let's get into now, one of the links below is healthykids.com.au, which, yeah, it's for kids, which should make it very easy to understand, hopefully. Otherwise, they haven't made this website correctly. Alright, so just a quick refresher on what the macronutrients are. So they're the main nutrients that make up the foods that we eat. They are carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Most foods contain a mixture of more than one macronutrient, but are generally classified as the one they contain the most of. For instance, pasta. Predominantly seen as a carb, but to make pasta you've got to add bits of butter in it, so it's got a little bit of fat in there, and there might even be some like plant protein in there from the flour, potentially, or even if it's like an egg noodle sort of thing, there'd be protein from the noodle, but you know, still some sort of like animal fat cells in amongst it all. So the first one we're looking at is carbs. So as I just mentioned, many people immediately think of bread, pasta, rice, and potatoes when someone says carbs. And while they're not wrong, many other foods contain carbs as well. So obviously, bread, rice, pasta, oats, quinoa, couscous, starchy vegetables, potatoes, but also corn and pumpkin, and then things you might not think of, like beans and pulses, so chickpeas, baked beans, lentils, some dairy products such as milk and yogurt have carbs, fruit has carbs in it, and sugar and honey, and it's really understandable when you're looking at the back of I've got a dairy iced coffee here, when you're looking at your little table at the back, sugars comes underneath your carbs. So when it's looking at fruit and sugar and honey and dairy products, we're mainly looking at, like, for dairy products we're looking at like lactose, for fruit we're looking at fructose, etc. Carbs are our body's preferred source of energy, so this macro should make up quite a bit of our diet, particularly if you are an active person, which is why carb loading is something that professional athletes may do. This website's really cool. It gives us 3 pro tips for carbs. So the first one is choose whole grain breads and cereals for extra fiber and fullness. Not only will you get, you know, the same amount of carbs as you would from white bread, but you're gonna fill up a little bit more, feel fuller, and then it's more of a slow breakdown energy. So instead of getting a quick high and coming back down, which is what simple sugars do, being with all the fiber and stuff that's in your whole grains and stuff, it's a little bit slower to break down in our digestive system, so we get a slower release of that, and we get to carry the arc a little bit further. We don't go as high, but we get to go further. The second tip is to include a variety of fruits, vegetables, legumes, and dairy in our everyday. That's pretty easy to do. If you look at if you break it down, have fruit with breakfast, or at least, at least one serving of fruit during breakfast. Put your vegetables in at dinner time, and then you might put your legumes in the middle of the day and have I think you can get microwave rice dishes and stuff that have beans and stuff in it. And then dairy's easy to do, a slice of cheese or whatever on toast in the morning, or your morning coffee. Right, so a morning coffee and a bit of fruit, and there's your dairy and a bit of fruit. You covered those. Having cheese with whatever you're having at dinner time, right? Like you might make up a bolognese and you just put some cheese on top of that. And then in the middle of the day, if you go and get let's say you go get falafel kebab or something, and you just put a bit of cheese on there as well. Like it's pretty easy or like you might have your legumes and then like a side of yogurt sort of thing. Whichever way it ends up working out for you, it's pretty easy to just slide dairy in there because of how diverse dairy is as a food group. And the third one is enjoy treats like cake and chocolate in small amounts. Because obviously cake being sort of within that whole like baked goods sort of bread category, but it's also sort of sitting within the occasionally thing because of sugar. It's one of those things where it's like it's gonna have carbs one way or the other, but yeah, small amounts is good. The simpler the sugar, the rarer you should have it, basically. Second one is protein, which is mostly used in our body to build and repair muscle tissue, but it has many other important functions as well. Protein foods include meat, and it's really funny because meat is the top one here. It makes a lot of sense. What's going to help build and repair muscle tissue? The muscle tissue of other animals. It's really cool though, because in the brackets, this being an Australian website, we've got beef, chicken, lamb, pork, and kangaroo, which I'm gonna just take a little step off the topic train for the moment. Kangaroo is fucking delicious. It's not like readily available when you come to Australia. Like you're not gonna walk into a supermarket and there's just kangaroo everywhere. We still have predominantly the same meats as everybody else, but you can get kangaroo in Australia. You can get crocodile, you can get emu. I so far have only had kangaroo, but it is so good. It's a very gamey meat, so I personally would sort of put it in the same sort of category as like rabbit and venison, although I haven't had either of those. I'm really wanting to try them though, because who knows, my favourite food might be venison or rabbit, and I've just never had it, and that's a crime. It's a crying shame. Fish and seafood, obviously, also again, because it's animal muscle fibers that you're eating. Eggs have lots of protein as well. Dairy food like milk and yogurt. Dairy proteins, like it comes from an animal, it's meant to feed another animal. It's an animal that, whether it's a cow, a goat, a sheep, whatever, it's an animal that we eat. So it's going to have proteins that we can use as well. Beans and pulses again, so that's like your lentils and stuff again. Nuts have protein. They also contain fats though. However, in moderation with the fats, obviously, especially if it's not a fat you want to have. Nuts are of like of the fats, nuts are sitting in the good category, basically. And then soy and tofu products as well, so vegan option, basically. That's the vegan protein. So if anyone's trying to tell you that like broccoli has protein in it, I don't see vegetables like broccoli listed here. So yeah, pro tips for protein. First and foremost, makes a lot of sense. Choose leaner cuts of meat. The fatty tissue on your steak, while it might crisp you up nicely and give a good mouth feel, not exactly the kind of thing you want to be eating, because that fat's done exactly to the animal that you are consuming, what it's going to do to you, and just coat your muscles. It's not the sort of thing you want to be consuming all of the time. So leaner cuts of meat, or at least trimming off as much fat as you can, within reason, is going to be a lot better for you in the long run. Second one is including fish 1 to 2 times per week, and you can try canned tuna or have salmon on sandwiches or crackers or in salads. So yeah, finding a way to incorporate fish once or twice a week is a good idea. I myself am in the middle of sort of planning like doing a meal plan, and the way I've worked it out, it's basically going to cover almost an entire year full of recipes. But I have worked it so that I have fish at least once a week, and I also have a day where I have just a pure sort of vegetarian, I think is probably the better way to put it, because I don't know necessarily if I'm going to go full vegan one of those days, but it does give me the opportunity to go, well, you know what, yeah, I'm going to have a vegan meal today. So yeah, but working fish in, pretty easy to do, because that meal plan's only really looking at dinner. I can still choose to have like it says there, I can still choose to have tuna and salmon any other time during the week for lunch or whatever. So yeah, pretty easy when you break it down. The times when you're gonna have like fish especially, you've got 14 opportunities to fit it in, and you only need to fit it in once or twice. So it shouldn't be that hard to do, realistically speaking. And then the third one is add legumes like chickpeas or lentils to dishes like curries and bolognese sauce for added protein 1 to 2 times per week. And like I said, at least once a week, I'm gonna have a vegetarian dinner in my meal plan. So I've already done them. I've already ticked off 2 of those top tips for protein within my own. Like that was always going to be part of it, and lean meats was always also going to be a part of it as well. Fat. So fats have been given a bad name, obviously, but they too are an important part of our diet. They're used by the body as energy storage for vitamins. So without fat stores, you're not going to hold vitamins. It's actually unhealthy to have, I think it's lower than 6% is like the lowest you can go without having serious health concerns. But 6% body fat, which means that when you weigh yourself, divide by 100 times by 6, and that's going to give you sort of the in kilograms number for what you need to have. So for instance, that's, let's say let's make it a nice round number. Let's say you're, we'll go 75, right? A hundredth of that is going to be 750 grams. So you're going to want 6 times that, which is going to be 3/4. So it's going to be 4.5 kilos. I think I've done that correctly. Let me double check on the calculator real quick. Four and a half kilos of your body is going to be fat if you're 75 kilos. Now obviously that's not the same for men as it is for women. There's a slight difference, but on average that's the lowest you can go. I'll try to find, let's do a quick healthy fat percentage. So typically a healthy range for body fat for men is typically defined as 8 to 19%, while a healthy range for women is 21 to 33%. And the reason why women's is higher is because but yeah, no, but yeah, so interesting. I will link the body fat calculator down below as well, so you can have a look for yourself and sort of get a number for yourself, because this isn't like these are all sort of rules of thumb, they're guidelines, but they need to be personalized to you, to your lifestyle, to sorts of, like there might be certain things you, for religious or cultural reasons, can't or don't eat, and that's completely fine, but it does mean that you can still work within those restrictions. Feels like it has negative connotations, but we're looking at it like, it's not an issue. But yeah, restrictions, you can work within those sort of limitations, I suppose, and still have a healthy diet. But yeah, so fats are used for energy, storage of vitamins, production of hormones, and for the protection of our organs. So yeah, kind of important. They help, protect our organs, which is something we need. We don't want our organs being vulnerable to, especially things like temperature and stuff. Like it essentially insulates our organs in a way, while also protecting it from like physical damage by providing a level of cushioning to them, which is always good to have. Production of hormones is important. You don't want your hormonal balance being thrown off, because it's not fun. I think I inadvertently did that to myself for about a week, and it was for a week only because it took that long to correct. And then yeah, like I said, storage for vitamins. You need vitamins to do certain things, like vitamin D is good for your skin, and vitamin B is good for, I think that's the brain. I could be wrong there, but I think it's the brain. But yeah, all of the different vitamins play a role in keeping our bodies functioning in one way or another. Alright, so there's saturated and unsaturated fats. Saturated are the bad ones. They should be limited, but not necessarily avoided. If eaten in large amounts, they can be bad for your heart health in particular. And saturated fats are found in meat fat, butter, full-fat dairy products, coconut oil and products, peanut oil, palm oil, and cottonseed oil, and occasional foods like chips, biscuits, and cake. Swapping to reduced fat dairy and trimming the fat of your meat before cooking it is just an easy way to get around the more common ones. And trying to not absolutely coat the bottom of the pan when you're cooking. You need sort of the equivalent to a tablespoon, like 2 teaspoons, just half a tablespoon. Just enough to sort of, essentially you just want to create a film on the bottom when it gets hot, so that when you toss all your stuff in, the pan and the heat itself is doing the job, and the oil is just there to keep it from sticking, is basically all the oil is supposed to be for. Unsaturated fats should aim to have more of these fats in our diet, as they have the opposite effect of saturated fats and can be beneficial to your heart health. So these are found in fish. Obviously, fish tablets are advertised as having high levels of omega-3 fatty acids. Nuts, avocados, so millennials know what they're doing. Let us have our avocado toast. Move on. And vegetable oils, which include olive oil, but also canola, sunflower, and rice bran. Some pro tips for fats: limit coconut oil, use unsaturated oils such as olive and canola instead. Coconut oil is 92% saturated fat, so it's like the bad. Cut the fat off meat before you cook it rather than after. The reason you want to cut it off before is because when you put it in the pan, some of it is going to, because this is what happens when you heat up fats, it's going to melt. It's going to then be absorbed by the meat itself, and you're going to end up with that fat still in there, even if you decide to cut it out after. If you want to add flavor to your meat, marinate it. It's a lot easier to do it that way. Like cut the fat off, marinate, or just buy lean steaks to begin with. Because I think steak's sort of the worst one for it. The rest of the meats and stuff you can get pretty well, fairly easily in lean cuts and stuff. But steak's sort of the bad one for having fat on there. And then have things like nuts for a source of healthy unsaturated fats. And that's all this site has got. So we're going to quickly have a look. So the thing we want to have the most of at a rate of between, is this per day? Surely this isn't per day. Anyway, it looks like it's per day. Between 6 to 11 servings of bread, cereal, rice, and pasta, which is obviously predominantly carbs. We then want to throw in 3 to 5 servings of vegetables and 2 to 4 of fruit. So you want your 2 and 5 essentially there, and it's pretty easy to do that too. Serving of fruit with breakfast, serving of fruit with lunch, and then just 5 vegetables with dinner. Very easy to do that. You want 2 to 3 servings of dairy, and about the same of your meat, poultry, fish, beans, and like eggs, nuts, all of those sorts of your big proteins, basically, are going to be there, and then obviously your fats, oils, and sugars, like simple sugars, you want to use as sparingly as possible. So yeah, when you sort of look at it like that, it's pretty easy. Carbs you want to have a good percentage of for the energy, but then if you look back at the... Actually no, I think even if you look back at my macro video, it ended up breaking down to 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% unsaturated fats, which is easy to do, very easy to do. But that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell as well. Turns on the post notifications so you can stay up to date when I upload new videos. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a big thumbs up. Links in the description. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And yeah, until next time, guys, keep your head screwed on.